All right, I wanted to show you my progress so far. I finished this guy. It's just a regular pulse motor using a Hall sensor. And this coil, you can really see it, this coil happens to be an older coil I had from a while back. It is a bifilar coil with, I think, 22 and 26 gauge wire. Right now I have it hooked up to run off of the finer gauge. And then we have the output of the larger gauge, which puts out a couple of volts AC. I'm going to rectify it, but let me show you what it looks like. You have to give it a little start. It's got a lot of power. Not putting out a lot of back EMF or alternating current off of the second winding, but that's because of the way I have it set up. The iron core, let me turn it off. The core of the motor itself is an iron core made out of iron powder and resin. And again, I built that coil probably 10 plus years ago. But I wanted to show you something else. I mean, that's pretty cool. There's the circuit itself, not exactly super pretty. But I wanted to show you something else. I was really curious about these Bedini motors that you can buy from China. I was curious about the circuit. I was curious about the build quality, which is not too bad. It's got a little bit to be desired, as the rotor itself has a little bit of play in it here. But other than that, it's a pretty decent little unit. Now, I was confused because it claims to be a Bedini circuit, but anybody who knows, Bedini circuits have outputs to them, usually to charge up a battery. If it's an SSG, it's to charge up a second battery. You have a trigger coil and a run coil. Well, on this one, it seems to be set up very much like the one I made, except it doesn't have a Hall sensor. So let me put the camera down and bring this guy into view here. Let me plug it in. And so it really gets going. It is a bifilar coil. And I did some checking, and it does actually have output. These two little solder points are connected to the larger winding. So I could, in fact, connect a battery to this and charge the battery up. So it is, in essence, a Bedini circuit. But you can see it's not a bad little toy. And that's what it is. It's a toy. It's not free energy. None of that nonsense. It's a pulse motor running off of a bifilar coil that has a trigger winding and a run winding. These poles, here, let me turn it off. These poles, ironically, are not like what I've read. They're like what I've built, but they're not like what I've read, where a lot of the first Bedini circuits had all outward north-facing poles. This, like all of my other ones, have alternating north-south, north-south. But it's not a bad little unit. Anyway, thanks.